Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for November 10th, 2014. Tonight we have one matter under continuances and two matters under new business. And before we start, if everybody could check your electronic devices, make sure they're either turned down or turned off, please. And if you plan on addressing the board, if you could sign in at the podium with your name and address. First matter before us is under continuances. This is ZB 2014-46. Petitions a special permit. The applicant is Bell Atlantic Mobile of Mass Corp. Property located at 175 Old Canal Drive. And the petition to construct a new 100-foot telecommunications monopole with an 11.5 by 26-foot equipment shelter and other associated equipment pursuant to section 7.6 and 11.3 of the zoning ordinance. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening.
Yep.
Good, thanks. How are you? I'm Matt Whitehead, local counsel for Verizon Wireless.
Yep. And
I'm actually just here tonight to request a continuance pursuant to the letter that my colleague had sent last week.
Okay. And so we received the letter. It did mention you would probably be in attendance. So pretty much, if I read the letter correctly, there's a few things with Verizon going on that the petitioner feels like they need a little bit more time to understand what's happening with the Verizon plan. So
Correct.
The May of 2015, is that a definitive date, or is that just what they feel based on what they know today?
That's based on what they feel at the moment, based on their current advancement in technology.
Yep. Okay. So Judy, if in the event the petitioner decides to come back, well, maybe I'll address this to you, sir. Do you picture us receiving some other additional information, or
Yes.
do you have any idea?
We would be in touch regardless to let you know if we're planning to proceed with the current plans or if we plan to supplement them with any sort of redesign.
So do we want to put it on? I know I don't have a calendar for May, what the meeting would be. I guess the question I was going to ask, if we put it on, are we expecting them to show up on that date as opposed to another continuance? I don't know how many continuances we'll entertain, but.
Well, I think we can probably, you could probably vote and accept this, this continuance.
Sure.
And then we'll be in touch with the applicant if it changes. If it, if they need further continuances, then that would come before the board. But if they were to come before the date that you're going to continue it now, then they would just let us know and we'd give you the information and they would start at that new date.
Well, I know sometimes with other petitions, they've withdrawn it without prejudice and then come back with a new plan, but I can't remember the last time we had one that went out this far for a continuance, so it matters, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm just asking. Okay. So since we don't have the actual date in May, yep, that's okay. I don't know. Who knows? So what we'll do is, since we don't have a definitive date, we'll just say, let's say the first meeting, May of 2015, whatever that date is.
Okay, excellent.
If that's okay with you.
That sounds great.
And
Thank
then
you.
we'll entertain that. So any questions from board members? I don't believe there's any necessity to open it up to the public. Is that correct? I don't see any necessity for that. Okay, so could I have a motion to continue this to the first meeting of May of 2015?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2014-046 for a special permit for Bell Atlantic Mobile of Massachusetts Corp. to continue to the first meeting of May 2015.
I have a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Continue to May of 2015.
Mr. Callahan?
Continue to May 2015.
Member McCarthy?
Continue to May of 2015.
Member Peck?
Continue to May 2015.
And Member Perrin?
Continue to May 2015.
Okay, sir. Hopefully, we'll see you in the May of 2015.
If not,
Maybe
sooner.
not you, but,
Yeah,
you know.
me or my colleague, but thank
Great.
you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, our next order of business is under new business. This is ZB 2014-59, petitions a special permit and variance. The applicant is Belvedere Veterinary Hospital, LLC, property located at 215 Manza Street. And the petition, the applicant is seeking variance approval to exceed the maximum curb opening allowance by 10 feet. The petitioner is seeking relief under section 6.11 of the Lowell zoning ordinance.
No, something's off there. Should be
Well,
for,
to be honest with you, I'm reading it along and I'm saying, I don't know anything about a curb opening, so.
phew, that's two of us.
That's interesting. So let me grab. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, there was an agenda that had
Yep.
an incorrect description of the proposal.
No, it's a
And I did
story of
pass
my
out
life.
So you should have a corrected version. But it was all correctly advertised and noticed to abutters.
Okay, so let's, let me just, I'm going to bypass everything I talked about except the actual petition. The applicant is seeking a variance for a side setback and special permit for an extension and structural change of a non-conforming structure pursuant to sections 4.53 and 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Does that sound better?
That sounds much better.
Great. So what would you like to tell us, sir?
Good evening. I'm Nick Hall, representing the Belvedere Veterinary Hospital. Here seeking permission from the board regarding those two mentioned issues. Looking to extend an existing animal clinic in this neighborhood over the footprint of an existing two-car garage on that property. The garage is not in use, minor storage. They're looking to modernize the facility, make it handicap accessible, and by doing that, they need the space of the existing garage. So it's basically an overlay of the same footprint, in fact, giving back a little bit of property on the back side. Other than that, I'll open any questions the board may have.
Okay. How long has the business been operating there?
As far as I'm aware, as long as any of our memories go, it's been through a couple different owners. The existing clinic was bought a couple years back, but the doctor remained on staff.
Okay.
But it's been a neighborhood vet for.
Yep. Okay. Well, if you don't have anything else at this point, I think I'll open it up to the public. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? Favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions. I've reviewed the outlay and the pictures that are provided, and it's good to see that the building's being put to use, that the garage not being in use at this time, and it seems that would help the business to expand and whatnot, so it appears to be fairly decent and in order of project, so I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Van?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the applicant. Sir, did you receive the letter from the Division of Planning and Development from the city with their comments that they had?
Don't believe I have a copy of that. It may have gone straight to the clinic, or. Is that something Judy would have written, or?
Yeah. Judy, do you happen to have an extra copy of that or not?
Sorry.
So if you could, so do you recall receiving that at all?
I personally have not seen this.
Yeah.
Whether it went directly to the clinic is certainly a possibility, probably where it would have gone.
Yep, okay. So why don't you take a couple of minutes and just read through that, and then we'll continue.
Duly noted.
Okay, okay, Van.
Yeah, so after reviewing those comments, sir, I just wanted to get your input and see what you think about the comments that the city had.
Really on the comment number one, the two sheds, I know the zoning plan shows them as sheds and it's tough to see from the pictures. The smaller one on the back of the existing building is a plastic tool shed, so really probably doesn't even belong on a zoning plan. The second one is really a lean-to off the back of the garage, which I think you can see in one of the side photos that I provided. It is absolutely part of that structure rather than being a shed. You can just catch it on the second picture on the right, kind of the siding changes there. That would absolutely be torn down at the same time, and that land would be given back. Number two, I am in agreement with. There is an existing concrete patio kennel run between the two, which would become incorporated in part of the building. And number three, absolutely, we would control erosion. Basically, the entire front side of this lot is paved for parking as is, and that would remain undisturbed. The right abutter is actually the city of Lowell, I believe. And we would put hay bales or silt fence up along that side during any excavation.
Awesome. So you would comply with all the comments they had, all this
Yes.
input? Okay. Great to know. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Van. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just think that this is a great application where you're actually making an improvement with the impervious cover and the fact that we're going to be further away from the rear yard setback. The adjacent land that you're going to be matching what you currently have with the garage, that 2.5 feet, what is that land used for?
To the right of the existing garage?
As you're facing it from the street, it would be
Yep.
to the right, yep?
It's
Conservation land, or?
It's an empty grass strip of land. I think it goes back deep, and it does turn into wetlands further back.
Yep.
We had a botanist out there who marked that, and Judy had a copy of, but it was well beyond
Right.
the setback point. I couldn't tell you what the land is used for. It's just green space.
Judy, that land, is that wet or brook or conservation land, or what is that land right now used for? I do remember hearing about, I think it was coyotes a few years ago that were in there, right?
There could be a stream back there. I'm not all that familiar with it. I mean, it's fairly built up.
Right, except for that area there, and I think it's protected so that it wouldn't possibly be developed at some point, I believe.
I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to look to see if there is like a conservation restriction on it.
Sure.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, to answer Mr. McCarthy's question. That is federally protected land that runs from Birch Street all the way through Manchester. There is a stream in there. It's maintained by the federal government. It's part of the Audubon protection. And you are correct, Dennis, there were coyotes back there several years ago. But I believe that strip of land that runs adjacent, parallel to the garage, is part city and part state. Just a
Okay,
point of interest.
thank you.
They have been over there for about over 50 years, that business.
I remember seeing something weird on some drawing that it was like City of Cambridge or something. These all say City of Lowell, but it made no sense when I saw it, but.
Okay. Now, you're going to be expanding the facility there, and you currently have 6 parking spaces out front. And the square footage of the facility when you complete it, do you know that offhand?
It basically doubles, so if it's 2,000-ish now. And we're saying we're
So-
adding, I apologize off the top of my head, we're adding 600, so no, it's not anywhere close to that. So it's probably 800 square feet now, and we're adding 600.
Okay, so at the
So
1
it's
per
sub 2,000.
300 ratio, that'd be 5 spaces required, and you're over with the additional 6 spaces, so you have enough spaces per zoning. Great, okay.
I believe the civil engineer, I believe, ran those numbers out. Didn't he show that?
I don't think I have that.
I asked him, and he did run the numbers out. I remember
Yep.
that, whether he noted it on here.
And then the other thing is you're going to be improving handicapped access. So
I'm sorry?
You'll also be improving handicapped access.
Yes, currently the facility is 3 feet above grade and just has stairs to the front and stairs off the back. So I believe you have a copy of the elevation showing that entrance shifts to the right to the newer
Exactly.
portion and a ramp.
Terrific,
follows that.
terrific. And the facility itself will then, in the floor plan, I believe you have a handicap accessible
Correct, restroom.
restroom. Great. Okay, nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
3, Mr. Chairman. Just as it relates to just giving back that land in the back, I think that's a great compromise. Knowing the neighborhood, knowing the importance of that business has been there for forever. And I'm not even that old, I don't think, but it's a well-established neighborhood business. It's always been a steadfast for that part of the city and other places. And I know Dr. Williams has done a fabulous job over there, so I think it's long overdue. I'm glad to see the improvements, the handicap accessible, and the new pervious frontage will do well. Just as you mentioned with the runoff, you're going to put up silt screen and hay and control that as well. Just keep in mind that section, that piece of green space there, my memory does serve me that it was partial. It was a partial land deal dating back. So that won't be used in the future for any off-site parking for employees or the home itself.
Oh, it's grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just want to make sure it just doesn't become a standalone parking area, that's all.
Correct.
I wish you the best of luck with the project.
Thank you very much.
Okay. One thing I wanted to ask about, and I know we talked about the ADA, and I see you're going to be implementing that. One of the observations I had when I pulled up in front is, so we're going to have 6 parking spaces, currently have 6, you're going to maintain 6. But I didn't see any striping at all on the pavement there. And then if you're going to have ADA, do we need a designated spot for handicap? So I didn't see anything on the plans on that. I would like to see striping done. I don't think that's going to be very cost prohibitive.
Nope.
I mean, it looks like you're improving the area.
Yep.
I think the parking with the spaces would make sense, and the location of the handicap spot, I think would tie in nicely.
Yep.
There's just general observation. When to be honest with you, it was the first thing I noticed. I pulled up and said, okay, here's what they're doing. Didn't see any striping, and when I saw the ADA, I thought that would tie in nicely. Judy, all departments took a look at this petition?
Yes, I didn't get any comment back from
Okay,
engineering
so
or,
I know we talked about the city of Lowell land and state land, whatever, to the right. Am I to assume this doesn't have to go before conservation at all?
no, it does not have to go before conservation.
Good. Okay. Well, I I agree with all the comments that came back from the board members. I think obviously you're going to have a nice finished product here. It's a well-established business. I think just kind of give it the aesthetic look and increasing for the business, I think ties in nicely. You're reducing some of the encroachment as it was notated in the write-up. As far as conditions, I believe, and somebody else can jump in, but one of the conditions that we talked about was the erosion control. So we probably need a little bit better definitive plan around that, but I'll let Dennis read that in. Did anybody else have any other conditions? So I guess the other condition would be for the paving, if you got that. Okay, I'm sorry? Yeah, so Dennis captured that. Okay, so we have two separate votes to take. One is on the special permit, and then the other one will be on the variance. So if we want to entertain the special permit first, which is for the extension of a non-conforming structure. Yeah, okay, so if we could take the vote on that first, please. Have a motion? Yeah, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2014-059 for Belvedere Veteran Hospital LLC for a special permit for the extension of structural change to non-conforming structure with the following conditions. First being that the applicant will follow the comments number 3 from Department DPD letter dated October 31st regarding the erosion control measures. And the second, that the applicant will provide handicap accessible parking space with necessary signage and striping.
Okay. Have a second?
Second the motion.
Roll call?
Chairman Bailey?
Approve with conditions.
Member Callahan?
Approve with conditions.
Member McCarthy?
Approve with conditions.
Member Peck?
Approve the conditions.
And Member Perrin?
Approve of the conditions.
Okay, and the second vote we'll take has to do with the variances, and I believe the petitioner met the prerequisites of the variance. And with that said, could I have a motion for the variance, please?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2014-059 for Belvedere Veteran Hospital for a variance for side and rear yard setbacks with the following conditions: that the applicant follow the comments number 3 from the DPD letter dated October 31st regarding erosion control measures, and second, to provide handicapped accessible parking spaces with necessary signage and striping.
Have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Chairman Bailey?
Approve with conditions.
Member Callahan?
Approve with conditions.
Member McCarthy?
Approve with conditions.
Member Peck?
Approve the conditions.
And Member Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Okay, sir, you've been approved for both the special permit and the variance. Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. And I just want to publicly thank Judy and Joe and the board for their help in preparing us for this.
Great, great. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good night. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2014-60. The petition's a variance. The applicant is John Mitchell. Property is located at 13 West Wind Road. And the petition, the applicant is seeking variance approval to construct a 2-car garage without meeting the front yard setback requirements. The petitioner is seeking relief under section 5.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good. My name is Tom Block. I'm with Morgan Exteriors, representing Mr. Mitchell here. He's here.
Okay. So if you could...
That might go away.
That's okay. If you could just walk us through why you're here this evening.
Again, basically, there is another area of the property that the garage actually could go on. If you look to the left of the house where there's a bituminous area, but you'd also be running into a variance. It doesn't attach or flow to the house well, and also there could be some water issues putting it there. The neighborhood is of like-kind homes. If just, we're being at his house this evening, looking across the street over to the side, many have added additional garages when the house hadn't, most of them hadn't started that way, and they've been since added. As far as, if you have the drawings, it's going to add curb appeal to the home, thereby improving the value of the home and enhancing the values of the homes in the area as well. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. So as you heard on the petition before us, there was some comments that came back from DPD. Did you get a chance to entertain those?
The email?
Yeah, if it came email or if it came
Yes.
by,
Yep.
by mail. If you could, we can either take them in order, or if you want to just cover them as you feel comfortable with.
If we go in order, we're looking to clarify the changes in the driveway. And again, when it comes to this type of, I'm a little duck out of water on this, as far as, is it 15 feet is the maximum width that the driveway can be coming out to the curb? Okay. There's a couple ways around it. One is we can stay with the maximum 15 width and just shape the driveway in such a way so that it doesn't go over the maximum width. You also noted about the bituminous parking area to the left. Now that also has a 20-foot front entrance to that. If we were to turn that to grass, eliminate that whole area, if we could do something in that sense, or maybe a trade-off, if that's a possibility. As far as the foundation wall appearing, I don't know quite how much is going to show, but the 30-inch area will stay right within that. Anything over 30 inches, we'll strap it inside it so it will flow up just like the siding that's on the rest of the garage. And then as far as a window goes, again, the reasoning for not having the window in the back was for security, but we had discussed it, Mr. Mitchell and I, and there'd be no problem putting a window in if you want us to install a window in the back.
Did you? Yep, okay. Okay, anything else you'd like to add at this point, sir?
Anything else you'd like to add?
Okay,
Good.
all right. So I guess we'll open it up to the public, since the petitioner is the only public here now. Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? Opposition, opposition. Hearing none. That portion of the public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. I had a question for the petitioner. I'm looking over the proposal and reviewing the property itself. And notice there is a driveway that's extended on the left-hand side of the property. What is the intentions with regards to that? I didn't see anything. You kind of mentioned that if we do something with it, but seems if we grant you relief for a garage, it doesn't seem there's any reason to have that area as another driveway at this point.
If you want to tie that in as a condition of some type, that the homeowner is open to that, as far as putting that back to grass or garden area, or whatever that case may be. But we would ask also is that in doing so, if we could get some relief on the width of the driveway, the new driveway being constructed, if we were to close that off, that's 20 feet that we're closing off. Again, standing at the edge of the driveway now, looking to your left, looking to your right, looking across the street, there's driveways that are 20, 30, 40 feet wide going to the street. So if we could get 20 for that, that would be greatly appreciated.
Well, that was my concern right there. I didn't want, if we grant you relief for an extended garage, and we also have another driveway on the other side, I mean, the whole front yard is all parking with a little minor space of yard.
Somewhat, yeah, I agree.
So,
Yeah.
kind of concerned about that as far as that as well. So also, my other concern too was the tree that's out in front on the corner end of there. What are the intentions with regards to that? I mean,
The intention is to keep the tree.
okay.
Somebody has a special request to keep the tree.
Well, that was part of, I noticed that was part of the
Yeah,
comments, and you didn't kind of glossed over it a
yeah,
little
I missed
bit.
that, I'm sorry, yes, the intentions were to keep the tree.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I don't have any further questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Van?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the applicant. I'm just curious, how many cars will be parking in this property or in this garage or in total?
Three.
Okay. Right. You know, driving by this property, it's a beautiful home, and like you said, sir, there are other residents in the area that have garages and all that, so I think relief could be granted, and, you know, this will help improve the neighborhood, which is already a great neighborhood, so, you know, overall, I think this is a good project, and I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. And the other thing I had failed to mention, there's also an exit from the home that can go right inside of the garage so that they don't have to go outside in wintertime to get into their vehicles, which,
Sure.
you know, they've been a lifelong Lowell resident.
Sure. Okay.
Doesn't escape to Florida.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, just have a couple of quick questions here. The grading on the site seems to go down to the house. So it looks like the street level is above the level of the garage as it will be completed. I guess the intent is to match the current garage level with the new construction, is that correct?
There's going to be some foundation, high foundation walls on that, and that's where the concern was about the concrete coming up. So as that, there won't be any water working in.
So will it be partially below grade? The garage will actually be sunk
Somewhat,
into
yes.
the...
The actual inside of the garage will be somewhat below grade.
Will be somewhat below grade, maybe a foot or two, okay. All
Yep.
right. Great. It just seems like you've created a relatively complicated scenario for getting into that garage bay closest to, what's the name of the street on the corner there? Megan Lane. If we look at the curb cut, so the curb cut requirement is no more than 15 feet. Maybe the existing one is on the order of 10 feet maybe wide. It's probably not much more than that.
It's 12.
12 feet, okay.
Right, we did that tonight, it was 12 feet wide. Yeah.
And so we're looking to make a modification to allow for a 20-foot wide curb cut overall?
If possible, I mean, we will take what we have, what we can get, basically. I mean, the key thing is to get the garage. If we have to modify the driveway, we'll modify the driveway, but the key thing is getting the garage.
It's fine. I understand why you're saying that, and there is precedent certainly in that neighborhood for driveways that are over 15 feet.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's hard to find one.
That's not, yeah,
Right?
true.
But that being said, the 20 feet will still have a relatively complicated scenario getting into that last garage bay because you only have 28'6". It would help if you enlarged that to 30 feet and made that setback work.
It definitely would make it easier if it
Would
was
you
30.
be open to honoring this front yard setback and stepping that back another foot and a half to match the zoning and give yourself a little more room to negotiate that last bay? It might actually work out in your favor
Sure.
to do that.
Yep.
The other thing that it would do is it would enhance, I think, the aesthetics of the front of the house by stepping that in a little bit because it's a
That's a
different roof line.
design issue. Did you want to set it in or just have it flow? In other words, going back a little bit from where
1'6".
And again, that's, if you look, it's, design-wise, I mean, it aesthetically, we all believe that that's the design we'd like to have, and it flows that way, whereas it, going this way, it looks part and parcel of the house, where I think if you stepped it back, it's definitely gonna take on the addition, the feeling of an addition.
By stepping the roof line, you've already done that.
Pardon?
By stepping the roof line, you've already done that. You're not matching the roof line of the house, so it'll always look like a wing, if you would, added on.
Okay.
I just think adding the dimension to that front yard would help you with negotiating that last bay, because you really don't have a lot of room to turn to get into that driveway, that garage. In fact, you might want to go more than 30 feet, but I think you want to at least honor the 30-foot setback.
Again, you're catching me off guard here. I did not get involved in the planning of the driveway whatsoever. There's another contractor that's doing that part of the job, so, you know.
Okay. And as you're making these modifications, are you going to introduce any retaining walls to the site? Because currently you have retaining walls on both sides of the driveway, I think?
Again, that would be the contractor is, did you talk with, who was gonna do retaining walls? Okay, you have the retaining walls right now, and you're taking that one on to the right and moving it all the way over to the right. So there will be retaining walls, yes.
So you will be having a retaining wall on the edge? Okay. All right. Okay, I think I understand. So we'd be looking at no more than 20-foot curb cut at the street level, so we'd be increasing the 12-foot driveway to 20 feet.
Correct.
And we would have a new window in the rear of the garage, and we'll have no more than 30 inches of exposed foundation showing.
Correct.
Okay. And we're going to save the tree on the northwest corner.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
We're going to save the tree on the
That's gonna
northwest
stay,
corner.
yep.
Yep. And we're going to be able to preserve the 30-foot setback in the front of the property?
Correct.
Okay. Good. I think it's a good fit, you know? Oh, and the last one is that we're going to remove the pavement on the southeast side of the house.
Correct.
Okay, great. Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, the only comments I have is, there was a fair amount of comments by DPD in the city, and I think it's nice when there's compromise. Dennis brought up, you know, we're always looking to reduce that foundation wall and the exposure, and I think the Mitchells are lifelong residents of the city, and staying in the city, I can certainly understand what the Snow wanted to keep themselves in the house as long as possible. I was echoing and thinking of Dennis's same thoughts about that curb cut for that radius turn. Just want to make sure that the petitions are comfortable with that. That kind of seems like a small reach. I was over there, and I measured some upward to 34, 36, 36.
If we get to 30, that would be plenty. That would be great, but we'll take what you want to give us.
I just want to make sure that, you know, the petitioners are, you know, aware of that radius turn, and that they're going to be comfortable making that sweep on 20 feet. Not that I'm looking to add any more pavement over there, keeping the paving companies in business, but, you know, as time goes on, it'd be a detriment to have, you know, thought a year or two down the road that you know, that there wasn't enough room there. So as long as everyone's comfortable with that 20-foot number,
Actually, Gary, I think it should be 24,
20, I agree.
because then you're matching the two bays.
Yeah.
You're just really compromising the third one.
Yeah, I agree with Dennis. I think,
That would be terrific.
I mean, not too often do I think we seek to increase, but I just think from a functionality, operational piece, I think in maybe a year or two down the road, it might be an oops factor. And why we're here today, looking at all these notes from the DPD and the city, I think, in fairness to everybody, I think it's just a real conversation that needed to be brought up, and I appreciate that. So That's all I'm thinking of. I did have my measuring wheel out there, and I put it away at one point. But I think it's a great project. You know, anytime we see residents, long-term, lifelong residents, staying in the city
Yep.
and improving the property, it's meticulous over there. I think it's a wonderful project, so I wish you the best.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, how many years have you been in that house?
3 years.
How many years been Lowell?
Oh, how long have I been in Lowell? My whole life.
3 years in the house, lifetime in Lowell.
You moved out of the Highlands and went to Belvedere?
Probably umpired some of your kids.
Uh-oh.
No, no, Mr.
Uh-oh.
Chairman.
Uh-oh. Okay. No, everything that's been discussed this evening, you know, I agree with all the comments. I know when I took a ride out there, I can't say I've ever been down West Wind Road, and of course I thought it was going to be right off of Raven, and I kept going and going and going, and then I finally found it. But you know, the home as it sits right now is very well maintained. It's in a terrific neighborhood. I don't have any neighborhood opposition here this evening. I think there's a lot to be said with what your plan is. We'll tie in with the neighborhood. I think if you drive around, you can certainly see where there has been some rehab work or additions put on to various homes, and I think this will blend in very nicely. Having a corner lot, I think, almost becomes like a showcase for the property on the lot there. Adding 2 garages, I'm sure if you have, especially in inclement weather with winter coming, being able to get in and out of your car so you don't have to get into the elements, it'd probably be great. It sounds like through this gentleman here, we've conditioned quite a few things here, but I believe at the end of the day, the final product will speak volumes for the changes that we've implemented here and you've agreed to. So if you can just give me a couple of minutes, I just want to go through these and then we'll read them back to you just to make sure we're all on the same playing field.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess, so what we'll do first is, I'll have Dennis read them back to you, what we've captured, make sure there isn't any disagreements or misunderstandings, or if there's something that we say that you didn't agree to, then we can talk about it before we get into the vote. So Dennis, if you could go through those, please.
Sure. The first condition we'd like to have is that we'll install a window at the rear elevation. Second condition is that we'll remove the pavement at the southeast side of the property and reseed with grass.
I'm sorry, I've heard the window, I missed the second one.
The second one is that you'll remove the pavement at the southeast side of the property and reseed with grass. The third one is that we'll provide a maximum driveway width of 24 feet. And fourth one is that the tree at the northwest corner of the lot will be preserved. And the fifth one is that no more than 30-inch of exposed foundation wall will be maintained on the property. Okay. I'm sorry, the last one is that the front yard setback of 30 feet will be maintained.
Agreed.
Sure.
That's still going to maintain the front coming level. Are you wanting to go back that 1.5 feet? Is that where
Yes.
that come from?
Yes.
Okay. Is that negotiable? They really don't want to put that back.
Well, we don't want to see an unsafe condition with that last garage bay, and that last garage bay doesn't have a driveway to back out on, so you're really going to be maneuvering within that 28-foot dimension to
Okay.
get over to that curb cut. And so and you're right on the corner there. We want to have a safe condition. So you may want to actually rethink that whole setback when you finally lay it out and stake it, that you might want to actually be more than 30 feet just to make sure that you can maintain access to that last garage bay. But we feel that your 28-foot, 6-inch relief that you're looking for on that front yard setback is probably not safe at that corner.
Okay. Did you catch that?
Exactly.
And that's something we can play with. I mean, we design up, we might go back 2 feet, or as long as we maintain a minimum of that 1.5.
Of that, yes, exactly. That's all you have to do is maintain the 30 feet. That's 1.5.
Okay,
yeah,
as
that's
long as
it.
we maintain the 30 then.
Right, but like I say, unless you're driving Mini Coopers like I do, you might have trouble with that little sweep
They have a
into
little
that garage.
sports car. That's the one that's going in the far drive.
Good, that's the right one that'll fit there. Okay.
Okay, so you're all set with
Thank you.
okay. All right, so could I have a motion, please, regarding the variances?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2014-060 for variances at 13 Westwind Road for the construction of a 2-car garage, not meeting the side yard setback, and also looking for relief on the curb cut. The following conditions. First condition is that the applicant will provide 30-foot front yard setback as required by zoning. Second condition is that the applicant will install a rear window at the garage elevation. Third condition is that the applicant will remove all pavement at the southeast side of the property and replant with grass. Fourth condition is that the applicant will provide a maximum driveway width of no more than 24 feet. Fifth condition is that the applicant will preserve the tree at the northwest corner of the lot. And the last condition is that the applicant will have no more than 30 inches of exposed foundation wall showing on the addition.
How about the relocation of the concrete wall? Did you mention that?
I didn't.
All right, so I get that in there, too.
Okay. The other last condition is that the existing retaining wall that is at the northwest side of the existing driveway will be relocated to the edge of the new driveway.
Okay, could I have a second, please?
Second.
Have a roll call.
Chairman Bailey,
Approved with conditions.
Member Callahan,
Approved with conditions.
Member McCarthy,
Approved with conditions.
Member Peck,
Approve with conditions.
and Member Perrin.
Approved with conditions.
Okay, sir, and Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, you've been approved. Wish you the best of luck. You're welcome. Okay, our next matter before us is under other business. Minutes for approval for October 27, 2014. Do I have any questions, comments, changes? Hearing none, could I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of October 27, 2014.
A second?
Second the motion.
Roll call?
Chairman Bailey,
Approved.
Member Callahan,
Approved.
Member McCarthy,
Approve?
Member Peck,
Approve.
and Member Perrin.
Approved.
Okay, so our next meeting is Monday, November 24th. Sound good, Judy? Yeah, guess it sounds good. Anything else from anybody? Okay, all right.
Yes, Monday,
So,
November 24th.
so could I have a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I have a second?
Second.
So moved.